Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now recently I went on a winter backpacking trip in the mountains. On that trip I had a couple of excellent lighting options with me. I had a headlamp and I also had a high-powered flashlight. Now originally I wanted to review each one of those products separately, but as I got closer and started working on my reviews, it pretty much hit me that if you were to take these two products and combine them together, you would essentially create a very high-end and very capable search light system. This is really something where in a search and rescue situation, the chances are that you're going to be in a very difficult situation in the first place, especially if you're heading out at night. So having good quality lighting and the ability to appropriately illuminate what you're trying to see and find is definitely a must. So with that, as you're hiking into the scenario, having good overall illumination to get yourself safely to that location is definitely important. Let's be realistic. If it is a search and rescue situation, chances are the terrain could be pretty tough. But at that, you're not sure exactly where you need to be looking. So you can't just illuminate around your general proximity. You have to have the ability to shoot light far off into the distance to really spot and pinpoint what you're looking for. So with that, those two different lighting scenarios could have drastically different needs from your actual flashlight. So for that reason, I have two products here that paired together make a perfect search and rescue lighting system. Here I have the Hurkins Orbit headlamp, and here the Sofirn Q8. So this Hurkins Orbit headlamp is a very interesting design. This is a headlamp unlike any other headlamps I've seen before. You have an array of LEDs that go completely around the headband, and what that does is provide 180 degrees of evenly lit light all the way up to the horizon and down to your feet. This is a very capable headlamp, going from everywhere from 30 lumens to 1,000 lumen output. But with that, it is essentially a floodlight. It does a wonderful job illuminating your general proximity and reasonably off into the distance, but it is certainly not a spotlight. So for that, the Sofirn Q8. Again, this is like a total laser beam. This has the ability to throw light extremely far. Good quality, high intensity output capable of illuminating very bright well off into the distance. So these two products have vastly different characteristics, but put together are a powerful team and a perfect search and rescue spotlight and floodlight combination. So for each one of these products, I will also be doing a tabletop review to go through all of the features and the functions and look at the overall quality. The purpose of this video today is to look at them both in the field, using them together as a system. So in this video, it is very difficult conditions. It is quite windy and we're also snowshoeing on a frozen lake, so the audio quality is not the best, but you will definitely get the general understanding of exactly what I'm trying to do. And if you're looking for more details on these specific lights, keep an eye out in the future for my upcoming tabletop feature review. So with that said, I have a whole bunch to show you, and if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to talk about, do me a favor. Stay tuned. We're at our campsite. We've been going at it all day here between, hiking in, setting up our camp, setting up our fire, eating our food, processing wood continuously. But we're getting to the point where it's almost dark and we're talking about doing a little nighttime snowshoeing. And so one of the key things is going to be having appropriate lights. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today, a little bit different from what I've kind of done in the past. And we're going to take a look at two lights that for me today are going to make up a system. So the two lights we're talking about are the Sofirn Q8 and the Hurkins Orbit. So you'll notice that I have a light strapped around my waist. So for me, this is going to be kind of like a little bit of a floodlight out in front of me while I go snowshoeing. And this is actually able to be worn in a couple of different ways. First is you can wear it as a headband, or there's an accessory strap that allows you to wear it around your waist. And where I'm talking about a system, the first thing is I'm going to have a nice little floodlight out in front of me with this Hurkins Orbit, and then I'm going to use this Sofirn Q8 as a spotlight. So this to me will be the perfect time to get these two great products together to make a searchlight system. So right now I have the Hurkins Orbit headlamp on, which has a very interesting LED pattern. The key here being that it really gives you sort of a broad light that's cast a little bit different than typical lights. So you'll see here, this headlamp can go from 30 lumens to 1,000 lumens. And what's pretty sweet about this is it's a nice wide floodlight. Basically 180 degrees. I am not going to turn my head. I will keep my head straight. And if you look to both sides, you will notice that you can see in all directions very, very well. This headlamp is spectacular as a flood. And as you saw before, you can put it around your waist, which is really neat too. So, you know, I have it on my head right now. I think it's a little better for what we're trying to do. I'm just going to dial this back a little bit. But there is a dial right on the side of my head, which is very convenient, very easy to find with gloves. It's a big dial, and it works very well. So anyway, the Hurkins Orbit is the first part of this, what I'm going to call like search and rescue flashlight system. This to me is a great combination. So this is the Hurkins Orbit, and let's look at the Sofirn Q8. So with one click, this will go to the lowest mode, but then a double click and bam. I mean, that is just lighting shit up. Actually, it's going all the way across the lake right now. That's sick. I don't know if you can see that, but it is illuminating the trees. Wow. That's pretty serious. Let's look at the cabin over there. Oh yeah, totally. No problem. Wake up. Way up there. Right there. Is the cabin. Pretty well lit up. That's awesome. Hard to say where the actual water is. But it would be really nice as a system to have this Hurkins light on your head, and then using the Q8 as a spot beam to just kind of pick things out. Really illuminates for me, so that I can see exactly where I'm going, and illuminates off into the distance with a little click. Awesome. See all our tracks. Nice. This is crazy. No idea if there's water under here. I would say not over here. If I had to guess. Not the quietest or most stealth means of getting around.
What's that?
I said it's not the most stealth means of getting around.
No, it's not, right?
You there? It's crazy.
I'm here.
I like it.
That's great.
It's peaceful, man. That is like legitimate peace. I wish the camera could see the mountain poking up over the horizon there. Yeah.
So one of the things I like about the Q8 is once you pick your mode and you get it dialed in exactly where you like it, when you press the button one time it turns off, the next time it comes back on to that mode. So that works out very well, but then the better part is when you double press real quick, you get right to that turbo. Now, I greatly enjoy that feature. I think the programming on that is absolutely perfect. They nailed it. That to me is just key, where you basically just want to get that nice little light to walk around, but then if you need to inspect something or you want to look off, double click real quick, and bam, there you go. So that really lights the place up. And now that we're partway across the pond now, I mean, you can see how far off I'm illuminating those trees real easy, no problem at all. And the camera can't really pick it up, maybe just a touch, but I am completely illuminating all the way across the lake here. So that is really awesome. Now as we walk back, basically as you long press, it goes all the way from the lowest mode to the highest mode and flashes, then another long press goes back down to the lowest mode, and that's actually really hard to see, but that's barely any light. Again, holding the button down and long pressing, comes right back to where you need it. So this to me would be a good overall lumen output for basic, I'd say like hiking, and then again, you know, that double press for that turbo mode when you need it. So it's a great light, very nicely done. So what's really great about the Hurkins Orbit is that there's a shield right under all the LEDs, so it's basically not really going too much in my eyes. Now it gets just a tiny bit in the way for it to reflect down by my feet, but the beam is so even and spread out nicely that it really doesn't matter. This light is excellent, good and comfortable on my head. I mean, I've had it up here for good amount of time now, hasn't bothered me at all, and I really enjoy the idea that you can use it around your waist. I think that's a pretty innovative idea and definitely works very well. So I'm turning the light up just a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Where the shield is under my eyes, you'll see right here that it casts a little bit of a shadow, and it's not a big deal. It doesn't bother me. It's kind of going straight across through the screen here. Again, the light is so even and just nicely distributed that that little bit of a shadow doesn't bother me, and I still have a couple of clicks to go here. I mean, this thing gets significantly brighter the more and more you go. So you'll see that there is a little light cast down low, then there's a little bit of that shadow, and then the light definitely, you know, casts up and nice and even into the foreground. So this is at 1,000 lumens, and just excellent, amazing light. So now what I'm going to do is give you a comparison between the Hurkins light and your typical headlamp. So I also have the Nightcore HC30 with me, and here you'll see the Hurkins lamp, here you'll see the HC30. So both of these are on a pretty low mode. Now I do kind of want to look at the beam pattern between the two just as a comparison and for really something to do. So we'll go this way, see if we can illuminate that tree that's out in the middle of that island. So now with the HC30, just over those sort of twiggy things is that tree. And if I go through the different modes, here's turbo, I believe, and with my eyes I can see the HC30 illuminating the tree behind. Now that is 1,000 lumen output, and you'll see the beam pattern. Let me zoom out here. So as you look here, here's the HC30. This is how the beam looks, and if I look to my left, darkness. If I look to the right, darkness. So on the full 1,000 lumen output, you know, with this HC30, I'm able to appropriately illuminate in front of me as that general hot spot, kind of illuminating that tree out there, which I can see, and the camera's having a hard time, but it is. So overall, pretty decent throw and reasonable flood out in front of me. And now the Hurkins on the 1,000 lumen output. So now, looking to my left and looking to my right. Now again, I can't even see the bushes in front of me, never mind the tree way out there. So definitely not a spotlight and much more of a flood. So that was fun, little late night snowshoeing adventure. It's actually not even that late, it's like 6 o'clock, but it's definitely pitch black, so feels like night. But yeah, that was fun, and nice using these lights.
So alright guys, there you have it. A quick look at the Hurkins Orbit headlamp and Sofirn Q8 Spotlight. Both amazing products, beautifully crafted, awesome features. I totally like both of these. They are completely different. They have a little bit of a difference in their overall need and use, but put together, they make a wonderful system. And I also like the idea of comparing this kind of new style headlamp to your more traditional style headlamp. This is very similar to things that you've seen over the past few years. So the Nitecore HC30, very understood. A lot of people have them and try them and use them and understand them. Two vastly different products. So it was a good opportunity to get a little comparison and the ability to compare and also contrast both of these lights. Now I'd like to say thank you to both Hurkins and Sofirn for providing these products for review, and for the rest of you, I can say I definitely recommend both of these products. So alright guys, as I mentioned, keep an eye out in the future for my upcoming tabletop reviews on this Hurkins Orbit as well as this Sofirn Q8. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.